The air was thick. The crowd was electric. 60,000 people packed into a stadium that felt like it was shaking from the ground up, and not a single soul in that building dared to breathe too loud. Two men stood on opposite sides of that ring, two legends from completely different worlds, and everybody watching knew something historic was about to unfold. This is the story of the night that martial arts history rewrote itself. The night Joe Louis and Jackie Chan finally stepped into the same arena. And trust me, you are not ready for how this one ends. Joe Louis was not just a fighter. He was a force of nature wrapped in a human body. Standing at 6 feet tall and built like something out of a comic book, Louis carried himself with a quiet, cold confidence that made grown men uncomfortable just being in the same room. He trained under Okinawan masters. He studied directly under the legendary Mas Oyama. His body was a weapon that he had spent decades sharpening, and by the time he stepped onto that mat, he had already conquered nearly everything American karate had to offer. Multiple national championship titles, a fighting resume that reads like a highlight reel from another era entirely. Louis did not dance around opponents. He did not play games. When he threw that right hand, that devastating, perfectly timed right cross, fights ended. Period. But here is what people underestimated about Louis: his mind. This was a man who studied philosophy, who understood psychology, who could read an opponent's rhythm and dismantle it before they even realized what was happening. His weakness? He had never truly been tested on the international stage against someone operating at the absolute peak of speed and unpredictability. That was about to change. Now, turn your attention to the other side of that ring. Jackie Chan, the man, the myth, the living, breathing proof that martial arts could be both deadly and breathtaking at the same time. Chan was not built like a heavyweight. At 5'7" and lean as a blade, he looked almost too small to belong in a fight like this. But looks have deceived people for decades when it came to Jackie Chan. This was a man trained since childhood at the Peking Opera School, where discipline was not optional, it was survival. Chan possessed something that very few fighters in history have ever truly mastered: speed. Not just fast hands, not just quick feet. Supernatural, almost incomprehensible speed that made his opponents feel like they were fighting a ghost. His striking combinations flowed like water, one technique melting seamlessly into the next. His adaptability was legendary. Chan could switch styles mid-exchange, read the situation in a split second, and respond with something nobody saw coming. But Chan carried a vulnerability too. His frame was smaller, his raw power significantly less than a man like Joe Louis. If Louis could land clean, full-force shots, Chan would feel every single one. The question hanging over that stadium like a storm cloud was simple. Could Chan's speed and brilliance keep him away from that danger long enough to win? The bell rang, and everything changed. The first 2 rounds were a masterclass in chess. Louis came out measured, patient, stalking forward with long, deliberate jabs designed to find Chan's range and test his defenses. Chan moved beautifully, circling, slipping, always one half step ahead of where Louis expected him to be. The crowd was on edge. Nobody had scored anything clean yet, and the tension was almost unbearable. Then, late in the second round, Chan darted in with a blinding combination. A quick jab, a spinning elbow that grazed Louis across the forehead, and was gone before Louis could even react. The stadium erupted. Louis touched his face, looked at the blood on his hand, and something shifted in his eyes. Something cold. Round 3 was where the fight truly began. Louis stopped being patient. He surged forward with a brutal barrage of heavy body shots, each one landing with a sickening thud that echoed through the arena. Chan absorbed 2, 3 hits, his face tightening with each blow. But Chan did not buckle. He pivoted, redirected Louis's momentum, and fired back with a rapid flurry of strikes to the head that snapped Louis back twice. The crowd was screaming. 2 warriors, both hurt, both refusing to give an inch. This was no longer a tactical game. This was war. Rounds 4 through 6 saw the momentum swing back and forth like a pendulum. Louis would land a crushing right hand and the crowd would gasp. Then Chan would answer with something impossible, a spinning back fist, a flying knee, a combination so fast it looked like one continuous motion, and the stadium would shake again. Both men were bleeding, both men were breathing hard, but neither man, not once, showed even a flicker of backing down. Round 5 was where the crowd truly fell in love with this fight. Lewis backed Chan into the corner with 3 straight power shots that shook the younger man's body. Chan's legs looked unsteady for just a moment, and the entire arena leaned forward, sensing it might be over. But Chan gritted his teeth, pushed off the ropes, and found his rhythm again. He fired a rapid-fire combination, jab, cross, low kick, step back, that created just enough space to breathe. The roar that followed from that crowd was deafening. You could feel it in your chest. In round 6, Lewis tried something different. He slowed his pace deliberately, conserving energy, forcing Chan to come to him. It was smart. It was calculated. But Chan refused to fall into the trap. He stayed on the outside, controlling the distance with sharp, precise kicks to Lewis's lead leg that were slowly starting to take a toll. Lewis's footwork, once so fluid, began to drag just slightly. The 2 men locked eyes between exchanges, and in that moment you could see it. 2 warriors who had genuinely earned each other's respect. Neither was afraid. Both were running on pure fire. Then came round 7, the turning point. Lewis loaded up on a massive overhand right, telegraphing it just slightly, the first real mistake he had made all night. Chan read it. Time seemed to slow down. Chan slipped inside, planted his feet, and drove a perfectly timed, devastatingly precise elbow strike directly into Lewis's guard, cracking it open. In that same breath, Chan unleashed a combination that had been building all fight long, speed, technique, and timing all arriving at once. Lewis stumbled. The crowd rose to their feet as one. The final rounds were a blur of heart and fury. Lewis, pride wounded, came roaring back with everything he had left. He hurt Chan again in round 8 with a thunderous body shot that made Chan's legs go momentarily weak. The arena collectively held its breath. Lewis smelled blood. You could see it in the way he shifted his weight, the way his eyes locked onto Chan with that cold, hunter-like focus that had ended so many careers before this night. He pressed forward, throwing heavy combinations, refusing to let Chan escape to the outside. But Chan found something deep inside himself, that relentless fire that had defined his entire life, and he answered back with a ferocious flurry that pushed Lewis against the ropes. Both men were running on instinct now, pure, raw instinct. Round 9 was chaos, beautiful, brutal chaos, strikes flying from every angle, neither man willing to take a single step backward. The referee watched closely, ready to step in, but these 2 warriors would not let him. They fought on, toe to toe, breath to breath, until the bell finally, mercifully ended it. When the final bell rang, the stadium held its breath for what felt like forever. The judges scored it for Jackie Chan. And here is why. Chan's speed was simply too precise, too relentless, too intelligent for even a fighter as powerful and gifted as Joe Louis to fully neutralize. Chan adapted faster, struck cleaner, and controlled the distance throughout the majority of the fight. Louis was magnificent. His power, his composure, his heart were all on full display that night. But Chan's ability to land his biggest shots at the most critical moments and to deny Louis clean, full-force opportunities when it mattered most made the difference. This was not a fight decided on talent alone. This was a fight decided on brilliance, adaptability, and an almost supernatural will to survive. Jackie Chan showed the world exactly why he belonged among the all-time greats, and Joe Louis reminded everyone watching that greatness comes in many forms. What a night, what a fight, what a war!